We are at Ecclesiasticus, all right? Ecclesiasticus chapter 8, okay? Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, okay? Chapter 8, chapter 8. All right, we're gonna start from verse 1. Strive not with a mighty man, lest thou fall into his hands. Be not a variance with a rich man, lest he overweigh thee. For gold have destroyed many and perverted the hearts of kings. Okay. So we look at this, beloved, should be kind of simplistic with some of it, right? Strive not with a mighty man, lest thou fall into his hands. Okay. So a mighty man, it's going to be hard in certain battles. All right. And don't think of this just in natural strength, right? But certain things are above your weight class. All right. Don't try to accomplish certain things, mighty men, because you can be the victim of it. All right. Going right to verse 2, same thing. Be not at variance with what? A rich man. Okay. Why? Lest he overweigh thee. How do you overweigh thee? For gold have destroyed many. All right. Riches have destroyed many. Not just because somebody has a lot of money, but what? He's saying perverted the hearts of kings. So when we talk about the scriptures, right? There is a kind of an undertone that goes around, like, oh, like, if you're making money or you're well off, somehow that's attributed to your salvation, or you're not really holy because you should be only holy people. They have to be broke, right? You have to be struggling, right? That is not true. Okay, that is not true. However, riches have, as it's saying, perverted, right, a lot of men. So it's just like, I won't put the drinking, but they'll say drinking brings what's in you out of you. Okay. They say don't kind of just make you do things you never did. It brings those things that you might have that filter, and it brings those things out. So when you have riches, it brings a certain boldness around, right? And if you somebody that, have a little bit of wickedness or whatever, there's certain things you can't do, certain wickedness, because you're not in that position or that power, just being honest, right? Some people can't do it because they're limited. But when you have riches, all these things, it opens up your resources. So you can do a lot of things. All right. So money can pervert. If you put your mind, if money becomes more than just what it is, just a resource to, get certain things. If you put in and you started getting that worship and putting over the Most High God, that's when it's going to pervert your heart. All right. But we had a lot of rich forefathers that had lots of money. All right. And they were still able to serve God. Okay. But some of us, all right, cannot handle a certain amount of money, all right, because our hearts are not strong enough to deal with it. And a lot of us might just leave, serving God once you have that money. Okay. So it has perverted. This is why you have to be mindful of those rich men that, it's all about that, because that money has consumed them, and they'll do a lot of things that's not according to, the word, or do things right. Right. So you have to be mindful of those kind of things, going at odds with people like that. Strive not, verse 3, strive not with a man that is full of tongue, and heap not wood upon his fire. Just not with a rude man, lest thy ancestors be disgraced. Okay. So when you look at this, beloved, all right. Once again, y'all already know, if y'all have something, please bring it out. I'm trying not to jump at all, really. But when you look at this, strive not with a man as full of tongue, heap not wood upon the fire. So, beloved, we have to be able to identify spirits, all right, or identify the fruits of certain spirits. All right. Sometimes we just look at the fruits, it talks about in the scriptures, like that Galatians, right? The love, the joy, the peace, along something, right? That's good to identify that, right? And the scriptures put that, so there are certain things we can identify. The righteous things we should be identified. However, on the flip, you should be identify things as what? Not righteous by their fruits. Okay. There's certain things with the scripture. Definitely when you get in Ecclesiasticus, it's going to bring a lot of little things like that. We should be able to identify certain things. Okay, without them having to even mutter. We see somebody that's always, talking, always gossiping. Gotta be mindful of that, right? Somebody's always talking about people to you, right? First of all, we need to kind of filter that and check that kind of person, because we don't want to just be that trash can where they just dumping crap on us. But sometimes people's got all this stuff, right? Maybe you're at work and you got to deal with this coworker, right? They're throwing all this stuff at you, just talking about everybody. Do you think you want to throw information out to that person? Because what they gonna do with that? They probably gonna use that gossip. Okay, use that. And then what's worse, they can attach it to you. Oh, I heard from this. And they probably not gonna tell exactly how you said it, but you knew there was a gossiper. Why would you give them any information? You're heaping what? You're throwing wood on the fire. You're making this thing what? Alive. You're making it bigger than what it would need to be. So the best way to contain a gossiper is definitely not give them information. Okay, don't feed the fire. And this goes, I'm just using that example, but it goes in every different capacity when it comes to wickedness. All right. Don't be the source that wickedness and that spirit can grow or maintain. We are the peacemakers. All right. We are the ones where it should be extinguishing these kind of things. It should not want to deal with us per se. We're supposed to be pacifying things, not enlightening it and making it worse. So we need to look at ourselves. What are we? Do we make things worse, provoke certain things, or are we pacifying certain things with our spirit? And if you can really evaluate, look at yourself, you should probably get an answer. And with that answer, you should know what you do. If you're a pacifier, then okay, keep doing what you're doing. If you're somebody that say, you know what, I do hear stuff, and I always, because definitely the juicy details. Some people, you gotta get out of that spirit. Sometimes we get excited to hear about what the downfall and bad about things. This world is fed off of that kind of stuff. This is why I say you can't be of the world. Ooh. If I told y'all, just use a system here. Let's say Mother Val, right? Yeah, Mother Val talked about how, God has, helped her with something this week, right? Okay, good for Mother Val. Ooh, did y'all hear about Mother Val and such and such? They said she was cursing somebody out. You like, ooh, she was cursing somebody out. What? That don't sound like Mother Val. You all into it. See, because what? It's manifesting our spirit. We are more in tuned, gravitate more to what? That filth and that mockery and the sins of certain individuals than what? Them even testifying about God. We say we love people. We love to hear gossip about people. And we got to get that out of us. Because that seed of wickedness is going to grow. If we don't pluck it out, it's going to grow within us. And it's going to do us harm. Just like you wouldn't want somebody, and this is what I'm saying with gossip, beloved. I don't care if it's even true. Let's say, sorry, mother, I know you don't mind though, right? But let's say something that mother did was true. It was something clearly wrong. Do you think the best thing to do and be in spirit led by God is to what? Want to hold that? You want to know this information for what? Are you going to pray for it? You're going to fast for it? You're going to say, oh, I know this. And so when you get to somebody else, guess what I heard? That's the busybody. That's the murmuring. That's the stuff that destroyed Israel. But that same spirit is still in this earth today. If you happy, you're excited, then you don't understand what the teachings is. You don't understand the body. Because when one of us suffer, we all should be feeling we suffer. This is why when we hear something about somebody, whether it's true or not, what should we be doing? If it's true, we're going to pray. If it's false, we're going to pray. Because what? The devil's busy either way. Okay? So something that can help you, if you somebody, I struggle with this one. Okay, then every time you hear some information, why don't you say, I'm going to fast then? Then you want to stop wanting to deal with all these things. All right? But we have to get that stuff out of us because that's the stuff that can destroy the body. If you just let it run rampant. Okay? All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Just not with a rude man, of course, lest thy ancestors be disgraced. Okay, so yes, don't go back and forth with somebody rude. All right, this don't have to be the ancestors like how they have the African things, the ancestors that's dead. But yes, it can bring shame to them. All right, with certain things, but also even the older folks, as well. All right, so we should not do things that's going to bring shame to us. to the older generation or to, those that came before us that what? Did a lot of sacrificing so we can walk in this thing. Okay. All right. Let's go to 5 and 6. Let's go to 5 and 6. Reproach not a man that turneth from sin, but remember that we are all worthy of punishment. Dishonor not a man in his old age, for even some of us wax old. Okay. This is one I did want to get a precept to. Okay. So this verse 5, very important. Reproach not a man that turneth from sin. But remember that we are all worthy of punishment. There's one thing, beloved, people coming in, right? Or people get into this thing. It's not because people are finished products. God is not bringing people into the truth because they're finished products. But we have to understand if God is bringing them in there, it's already a potential, more than just a potential. He already see that what? They can change. They can get out of whatever thing they're in. You don't want to be in the middle of that or cause that person to revert back to their old ways or go back to sin because you're going to offend them in some way, right? So when somebody come from sin, turning from sin, all right, let's not hold them to that sin, not that be prejudiced to them because of the sin or whatever. Okay, because what? We should know that we were in that same condition. And the problem is some of us don't think we was in that same condition. Some of us think that, what, no, I'm more of a finished product now. I was above it. No, you were wicked. Just like where you were wicked. And the reason you think that you was better than them, that's the problem right there. That's showing you still got work to do. Because you want to justify, them got you trying to justify your sin and saying, well, you weren't that bad. Okay? But it don't matter about how bad because the wages of sin is death. So he didn't give you the amount compared, sin alone. That punishment is death. Okay? First. All right, I don't know what this phone's trying to listen to us. Okay? So let's go to Romans chapter 3. All right? Let's go to Romans chapter 3. All right. So Romans chapter 3. All right, verse 23. All right. Romans chapter 3 and verse 23. Matter of fact, I'm going to read 22. Even the righteousness of God, which is by faith of Yahushua HaMashiach, unto all and upon all them that believe. For there is no difference. All right. So it's the righteousness of God, right? Which come through what? Faith. All right. You retain the righteousness of God through faith. And that faith is through what? Through Christ. Okay. And it's given to all that believe. Verse 23, listen, because he said, for there is no difference. Okay. So you see the two periods. Remember, what's usually stated after it is talking about this. Why is he saying there's no difference? For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. So what boast do we have? Why are we looking at our brothers and sisters a certain way? But brother Mike, you didn't hear about the sin. We all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. We all did. No, we don't need to actually. You don't even go through a description of all the sin you did. We all fell short. One was one too many. Okay? So we don't need to be dimming people and talking about them and this and that. All right? We should be encouraging because we know it's hard to get to this truth. It's a lot of things. Sin was fun. I can see now. Don't try to grab that quote, and make a video out of it, right? Get the context of what I'm saying. It ain't that sin was not fun. People love doing sin. You will still do it if you didn't know it had the consequences of the Bible. It wasn't, oh man, sin was, no, you loved doing what you were doing. Okay? Some of us didn't stop sinning because it didn't feel good to us. That's why we're doing it, because we did whatever felt good, whatever we wanted to do. Okay? So we have to understand those kind of things. So when people are struggling, they're fighting that. It's easy to reject something that you don't like doing, but it takes a real strong discipline and spirit to what? Reject the things that you want to do. That feels good to you. Okay? So I'm just saying that so we can understand. Because when we start doing this stuff, beloved, y'all been in the class for a while and everything, certain things you're going to start removing yourself from, but a lot of times we start forgetting where we were. And sometimes when you forget where you were, you'll start to condemn people and think, oh, they're just so nasty. Oh, they so filthy. And you forgot you was filthy and nasty before you got into this. Okay? So we're not justifying no behaviors. I'm not saying that. But remember, it's more impactful to encourage them to get into this thing, just like we wanted to be encouraged as well. Okay. So, read verse 5 again. Reproach not a man that turneth from sin, but remember that we are all worthy of punishment. All right. We are all worthy of death and the punishment that come with sin. Okay. Dishonor not a man in his old age, for even some of us wax old. All right. So we're not going to dishonor those that are before us. Okay. They might be forgetful with certain things. They might not move as fast as we want them to do and all those kind of things, but don't roll over them. All right. Because you must consider you're going to get old one day. And you wouldn't want somebody to treat you that way because of your old age. And really, when we understand the scriptures, how we supposed to honor them. I know kind of like this culture here, like you kind of, oh, they old, they out, get them out the way and come on, it's about that. No, in our culture, we supposed to reverence them. Why do we reverence the old? Right? They call about the gray hair or the hoary head. Why do we reverence them? Because they have wisdom, they have experience. They're supposed to share that with the young. Okay, everything we don't have to experience. We don't have to burn ourselves on these things. Get the experience, get the wisdom from the old, so we can avoid certain things. We don't have to keep repeating, right, the failures and those things. That's the thing about why in school they teach history, so you don't repeat those kind of things. Okay. So with the wise, you're supposed to be teaching. That's why the older women are supposed to teach the young women, right? You might have had a failed relationship, but you don't want to put that on the young child. You want to teach them, listen, this is what you need to look out for. This is what I experienced. Same thing with us men. And as men, we got to be careful. We do the same thing. We get hurt. Oh, women, man, marriage, you don't want to do marriage, man. Oh, man, all these women is this and that. And we speak and hurt. No, all women are not that. But we should encourage, brother, you better make sure you get a righteous one. Because there are some women that's bad. There are some men that's bad. But this is why you want to find somebody in the word of God. All right? You got the doctor. So we have to teach and change that narrative, because the narrative is just like see, like they pushing males going against females, females going against males, just a big chaotic thing of everybody saying how the other person's at fault. Instead of throwing ourselves up saying we all at fault. We all have come short from the design that the Most High has given to us. Us men have failed to be leaders. Got to be honest about that. We weren't perfect examples. It'd be different. We was great examples, and the women were just like, you know what, I ain't following that. Even though they're doing good, I'm just gonna do whatever I want to do. No, some of us have been terrible leaders. We have been the worst abusers to you women. We got to take ownership, put our hands up. Lord, forgive us. Teach us how to love our partners. Hopefully, then that can inspire the women to say, you know what? We haven't been doing the best job as well. We have been, probably making it hard to be led because we've been stubborn and doing our own thing. This is where the healing can come from. This is what the older ones are supposed to be teaching the young. Okay? So we got to get back to that healing. It's been a lot of hurt, beloved. Israel has been hurt. Okay? We have to understand people's hurt. It's not justifying the actions, understanding, empathizing with them. I know you've been hurt. I know you've been scarred. I know you've been going through that. But I'm telling you, we got to get back to serving God. And when you start doing that, the healing will happen. All right. We got to get back to that old path that our forefathers and foremothers that were righteous and trying to walk this thing we're at. We have to get back to that, beloved. And that's where the healing will happen. That's where the restoration would happen. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Make sure, let me look at the chat, make sure nobody has anything. All right, I'm going to read 3 at a time. Let's go to, where did I leave off at? Oh, the mic runs his mouth so much and he starts messing up where he's at. Okay, verse 7, I believe verse 7. Rejoice not over thy greatest enemy being dead, but remember that we die all, or that we all die. Okay. Despise not the discourse of the wise, but acquaint thyself with their proverbs. For of them thou shalt learn instruction and how to serve great men with ease. Okay. So we don't want to rejoice, even over our enemies, even those that have despite us with Christ, even those that despitefully use you, talk bad about you, right? Don't rejoice over that. All right. I know it brings an ease to us, right? Oh, tired of that person always doing this, right? I understand that aspect, but you don't want to rejoice, right? Because even though they were doing those things against us, we have to get to, it's a heavenly mindset that we get. When we talk about this truth and get into it, the Most High is elevating our mind. And this is why he's saying, don't think like the heathens. Don't be like the Gentiles. Don't be like those other nations. I'm not putting you on that. We are the higher standard, beloved. A higher, as the world saying, frequency of thinking, whatever you want to have, right? We are at a higher level, right? And why? Because we understand the things that are not seen with the natural eye. We see things that the natural eye don't see. We understand things that the carnal mind can't understand. And so when we see and know what, we should be knowing what's behind that spirit. Because some people's like, oh my God, why they just hate me? Why they just dislike me? And sometimes they don't have a per se reason. However, we know the reason is what? They got a spirit on them. And they might not even understand what's dealing with them, but we should know it's a spirit on them. And they can't even shake that spirit off. And we know we can't shake that spirit off. But we need what? We need the Spirit of God to take some of these things off. We, with that spirit, is designed to fail. Designed to what? Stay in sin. That's what that spirit going to do. It's only through the power of God that we get that spirit off of us. So we should rejoice over our brothers and sisters that's been struggling and they're losing that battle. And that's a battle that what? We would have very much lost as well unless the Father intervened. So we should always be putting that energy of rejoicing and praising to the Most High God because we've been just like them. It's easy to condemn when you're on the other side now, beloved. But this is why we should extend mercy. We're going to have it, beloved, as we go. There's going to be some of these things I'm saying some of y'all might not experience, some of y'all have experienced it already. We can't shut up everybody that talks about us. Can't fight everybody that's going to have some wrong. You can be fighting every day the rest of your life. But the Most High has given us peace. What's the peace that he gave us? He gave us the knowledge. He gave us the spirit to understand. That ain't brothers. That's the spirit. That's the spirit overpowering them. They can't even love me if they tried because that spirit has a stronghold. But I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray because the thing that's in me, greater is he that is in me, John said, than he that is in the world. That spirit in me, my prayer, right? If I pray to my God, he can lift that spirit off of me. Okay? So this is the power that we have, but a lot of times we neglect the power that's within us because we become what? Fleshly. Oh, they talked about me, so I want to pray for them. So they hurt my feelings. And Satan got you so distracted on what they doing and how they hurt your feelings that you neglect the power that's within you to what? I'll break that mold off. Do not neglect the spirit that's in you, beloved. Some of us have not tapped in to the spirit and really felt that power that it has. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, despise not the discourse of the wise. All right. So we shouldn't despise when the older, or they say the ancients, talking, right? But what? Acquaint thyself with their proverbs. There's dark sayings, those wisdoms, right? Stay around that, right? Sometimes, talk about being nosy. Be nosy in these kind of things. All right. Learn instruction and how to what? How to serve great men with ease. There's blueprints. The old man, he's great. He survived. He got a lot of experience. Listen to what they're saying. A lot of times they'll give you, oh, no, no, young man, you got to do it like this. Now, this is how you do this, right? And you can elevate with wisdom like that. But if you just look at old people as their old farts and stuff, they're just useless. Well, you're going to make a lot of the same decision. You're going to be doing a lot of foolish things. But a lot of people that listened and hearkened to the older, you'll see they're different. You'll see they walk different from a young age, they have mature mind. That's because they listen to the discourse of older people or the wise people. Because you're old, I mean, it's good, but usually wisdom attached to it. Okay. Verse 10, kindle not the coals of a sinner, lest thou be burnt with the flame of his fire. Rise not of anger at the presence of an injurious man, an injurious person, lest he lie in wait to entrap thee in thy words. So we have to be mindful, beloved, with any sinner. And don't what? Don't fan the fire. Don't make things worse, beloved. All right, we already talked about it earlier. If they're a gospel, why give a gospel a new story? Or some of them say, well, they was saying lie there, God. At least with me, I kind of told them the truth about the individual. You told the truth to somebody that's a gossiper. That's like giving a loaded gun to a little kid. Would you do that? No. Why? Because they don't know even how to handle that, and they're going to hurt somebody with it. This is the things you're going to have to pick up, beloved. No. You have to know. With certain things, you have to be able to understand these things. So when somebody's a sinner or they a liar stuff, I'm not giving them all. I ain't giving so much. I'm gonna be quiet around somebody that's a flat out liar. Why? Because that's what they do. They do the information, they lie about it. A liar lie about things that's truthful. All right. So we have to get these things, beloved. This is why I say it's wisdom. Wisdom. Okay. That gospel, like, I'm trying to talk to them, but I can never get none out of them. And you see that you're in less stories than the other people that what? Run their mouth. Okay. I don't know why I staying with the gospel, but that's one of the clear examples I can make. But with anything, beloved. All right. Verse 12. Lend not unto him that is mightier than thyself, for if thou lendest him, count it but loss. Okay. Be not surety above thy power, for if thou be shorty, take care to pay it. Okay. So be mindful those that are mightier, stronger, whatever. Even when you lend this to them, count it but loss. All right. So sometimes you give somebody like, I ain't getting that back, right? Same thing he's saying. Be mindful that definitely with those that are in power. Okay. That'll be sure to take care to pay it. And yeah, and the one thing with anything, beloved, once again, when it comes to borrowing anything, whether it's monetary or anything, we want to pay our debts to certain things, right? Because what? People hold those things to you. Okay. And I always say when it comes to lending, okay, when it comes to lending, first of all, you need to know who you're lending to. It's one thing, right? But only lend what you can afford to lose. Okay. And I'm saying this in the wisdom aspect. I heard this when I was younger. Lend what you afford to lose. Because you know what? If you give them something you ain't afford to lose and they don't give it, guess what? A lot of times, I'm saying all 100%, probably 90, probably 99%, your spirit's gonna start changing toward that person. Right? You start looking at, I lend Kai, $400 and he ain't never paid back. He don't never say to me, hey bro, yeah. Oh, it was good, Kai. Yeah, still ain't getting my money back, right? And I'll start to what? Eventually start turning evil eye towards that brother. Right? But when I give him something I don't care about getting back, it ain't that big of a deal. Hey, what's good, brother? Ain't no big deal. Because I was able to lose. I'm not giving you enough where it's gonna change my spirit. And this is what I'm saying for yourself, beloved. Don't lend something that if I don't get it back, I'm gonna lose my spirit to this person. Okay. So me, I live with that rule. I try to lend, like, if I lend you what I'm able to kind of um afford to lose. Okay. Now I'm going to get the other side. We're supposed to pay people back and don't try to borrow something that you can't pay back. That is the other side of it, beloved. Okay. We should not, because we know how that is. When somebody gives you something, that's something that they earn, that they have, and they give it to you in that faith. So if it's a loan that they give you, it's on that impression that it's something they're giving and they want to return, make sure we're mindful and get that back to them. Okay. So we want to get both sides. But beloved, I just know a lot of times through experience, I know if you give give money where you're not afford to lose it, a lot of times our spirit's gonna start to change toward that person, right? And we don't want that because we got to walk sober minded. Okay, so that's my advice. But you can do what you want, all right. But a lot of times, a lot of people they can't separate it. They'll start looking at that brother or sister wrong. Okay. All right. All right, verse 13. Be not surety above thy power, for if thou be surety, take care to pay it. Read that. Go not to the law with a judge, for they will judge for him according to his honor. Travel not by the way with a bold fellow, lest he become grievous unto thee. For he will do according to his own will, and thou shalt perish with him through his folly. So, beloved, when you go into go into law of the judge, they're going to remember the honor of the judge, right? If you try to sue a judge and everything, he going up, he probably have judges going to have their friends, right? They're some of co-workers and stuff like that. So they're going to judge maybe a little favoritism towards that. Okay. So this is why he's saying, don't try to go to the judge with him. Now, this is not of a shorty thing. If a judge did you wrong, saying, well, I ain't gonna go there because I can't sue him because the Bible said no. It's using these things, some of these things just for wisdom's sake. All right. Don't think it ain't gonna be favoritism, stuff like that. All right. They're gonna judge according to their honor. It's hard to take that away, even though you're suing them as a person, they still have that honor as judge. So it's gonna be that kind of thought back in the head. So it's just saying in that sense. Okay. Travel not by the way with a bold fellow, lest he become grievous unto thee. So be mindful who you're attaching yourself with. All right. Somebody's always just they gonna do what they want, right? We had those friends growing up. They gonna do what they want. They a liability, right? You used to have friends you go out with. It's like, I got this person that maybe like to indulge and drink and get drunk and do something stupid. That's a liability. We got this one that he's looking for a fight. He likes to go out and just have a story, fight somebody, have a story. You need to be liable to those things. All right. Well, you are. Okay. So when this happened, you think about it. So if they try to do their own will, you don't want to be connected with that kind of folly. Okay. This is why most when you go to scripture, they don't want you kind of linking up with people of the world because this kind of stuff happened. All right. And a lot of times there's something unrighteous happen. You feel like you got to pick a side. And a lot of times you're going to favor the person that you probably know. Okay. So if they doing wickedness and everything, sometimes you ready to justify that wickedness instead of maybe even hold them accountable. Okay, so just be mindful of these things, beloved. Strive not with an angry man, and go not with him into a solitary place, for blood is as nothing in his sight. And where there is no help, he will overthrow thee. Consult not with a fool, for he cannot keep counsel. All right. So even an angry person, beloved. All right, they just rule. Remember, I told you that lesson. Anger shouldn't be dwelling in us. Okay, but anger is dwelling in somebody. Sometimes they say, "Oh, this person just see red," right? Things like that, right? They don't consider the consequences. They're not considering that's where I could say proper judgment, right? Those kind of things. They're not considering maybe logic all the time, right? Even when people will argue with your friends and not argue with your partner, you not seeing things straight. You're just ready to lash out. That's not a spirit that's going to be helpful, just lashing out. Right? So this is why you have to be mindful of angry person. Sometimes you're angry at something that happened at the job, but guess what? You come home and you lash out on the people that you so-called love, right? So that anger that anger don't care. It just wants to fire out. But you have to what? You have to have that spirit. Fight that thing. because nothing good usually comes from anger. Though people, oh, we anger. Think about how many good things happen from anger compared to how many bad things, bad decisions were made through anger. Okay. Consult not with a fool, he cannot keep his counsel, right? Don't consult with a fool. Don't give a fool anything, right? That's going to probably be used against you. All right. Yeah, just you don't want to get your wisdom from a fool. That should be kind of clear. Okay. And I say the same thing, beloved. These big old wicked people, and you trying to get righteous information from them, it's like, why would you do that? They don't serve God. They're not doing the things of God, but you want to get your counsel from them. No. Okay. The fool can give you something good, but he also can give you 10 bad things with it. Okay. So not a reliable source. All right, let's finish it up. 18 and 19. Do no secret thing before a stranger, for thou knowest not what he will bring forth. All right. Open not thy heart to every man, lest he requite thee with a shrewd turn. Okay. So do no secret thing before a stranger, for thou knowest not what he will bring forth, right? You don't want to do certain things. All right. You don't want to do certain things because what? We don't know what they're going to do with that. We don't know what they're going to interpret it. You don't want to just give somebody you don't know, you just giving them all this, sensitive information and details about certain things. And what? They might use that against you. You don't know. Okay. So you don't want to do these things. Okay. And things that are hidden, you don't want to just give this to a stranger. And don't open your heart to every man. Okay. This is just with you don't want to make yourself vulnerable, right? Because you open your heart, it's a vulnerability that comes with that. You don't want to give the secrets, all your vulnerability and things that can hurt you and stuff to somebody, to just anybody or to everybody. No. Okay. At least you requite the issue turn. Okay. So you have to be mindful of that. Okay. So just some more seeds of wisdom that Ecclesiasticus is sharing with us. Okay. So I don't see nothing in the chat. So anybody have anything before we officially close out? All right. We will stop it there. Another Wednesday down, another chapter down. Okay. And those that are watching on YouTube, we say,